Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Bitches. My name is Rachel Bonetta, joined by two of my best buds, Sarah, Tiana, Megan, Gailey. Oh my God. I feel like every single episode I've started in the last 6 months, I say the world is on fire. But this week feels particularly flamey.
It's also hot. It's 95 degrees in Indianapolis with like 100% humidity. So it feels actually on fire.
Are we living in hell? That's what I said this morning. I wake up every morning and I check the news. Mm-hmm. Did you guys see what's happening in Paris?
No.
There was like this big, I don't even know if
the
I
needles.
want to say this, but it's a new fear unlocked for me. And I feel like if it's a new fear for me, it's got to be a new fear for everybody.
Oh,
These people
was that
went to
in
a music
Paris?
festival and they kept on getting jabbed with syringes.
You know what? I told my mom yesterday, and maybe it's because I'm like one day away from giving birth. I go, I'm really glad I'm not going to any large scale events right now. And that's like, I mean, even though I just went to the NBA finals, but like music festivals, even like the threat of terrorism aside, it's like, I just don't want to be in line.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I have to say, we were in New York over the weekend right after we bombed Iran. And I was like, this is not the best place for me to be.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Tall building in New York.
Yeah, I remember being in Times Square when filming a TV show when the Paris terrorist attacks happened. When and we were like, can we get the fuck out of here? And they were like, we still have 2 setups. It's like, no, we don't want to be in Times Square. That aside, what is Fanatics Fest, first of all?
Yeah, can you tell us more about
so many different kinds of people there.
Yeah, it is wild, honestly. So Fanatics, owns a variety of things. They own trading cards, apparel. So it's really basically just every sports entity in the world. Like, it's a bunch of fans trying to get autographs, honestly. So it's like everyone from... Like Kevin Hart and Tom Brady were doing Cold as Balls live there. And then you have Travis Scott, which we almost like got trampled because we walked down the wrong aisle when Travis Scott was coming out. And everyone's trying to get him to sign their shoes. Yeah, I was like, I almost just watched the Astro World thing on Netflix.
No.
I almost get trampled. That's Fanatic. So I was like, thank God Chris had picked Cage up.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Get him to sign the shoes, and like those will be worth like $10,000 if he autographs the shoes. Like they just had all these. It was wild, but it's like so. It was pretty funny because there's just like it's basically Comic-Con for sports.
Okay. And was it at the Javits Center?
Yes. So it's at Javits Center.
Okay. So we're big.
All these booths, and then there's all these like I forget what they're called. That like, so it's like Netflix has a booth, but it's like Happy Gilmore.
It's an installation.
It's like all these little activities that you can do.
Yeah.
But they're really promoting Happy Gilmore and anything sports,
fun.
any of their sports. So then like then there's like an untold section within the Netflix, promoting their documentaries, but you get to throw footballs or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, then there's a Dick's Sporting Goods section. There's an MLB section. Like Peacock had a station. My friend works for Peacock, and she usually just like brings me to the Poker Face premiere, but then she's like, well, we're getting the NBA on NBC, so then they had a whole NBA installation that you could do activities with. And so
I know every single episode we pitch a landing spot for Meg's 40th birthday. Fanatics Fest. What do you think?
I do not want to go to Fanatics Fest because Fanatics Fest is Michael Rubin is Fanatics, right? And he's the white party guy. Yeah, he's like a no for me. I'm not a big Rubin head.
It's also
I don't know, but maybe.
When there's lack of competition in the market, the product. Remember, Fanatics is also responsible for the pants that were see-through in baseball. Like they make the jerseys, and like people were always complaining that they're misprinted or they're spelled wrong. So it was like the quality seemed to go down once so many products were bought up under the Fanatics head. Right. But I will say that we got picked up. Like, there's a car that picked us up at the hotel to take us, down into the loading dock where you get your credentials, and then like a golf cart takes you up to Fanatics Fest, so that because Chris and Rich were doing their podcast from there. And so like we get out of this Escalade and everyone's like turning around because there's like 100 people down there, and then they're like looking, and then they're like, oh, it's just, and then the next person that comes out is like Jaden Daniels, and then they're like a little bit more excited.
Yeah, but you're hot.
Yeah.
You're hot. I would just walk out like, you don't know who I may be somebody. You don't know.
I would have put my shades on. Also, if I saw
Yeah.
Tiana getting out of a car in a loading dock,
I'd have been like, this is Tiana Fest.
That's very nice. Oh my god. I'm gonna
Cage. Sign by.
It's Chris. I heard you held up a dead lizard last week. Oh.
I've told everybody the dead lizard story.
Oh god, that was a brutal story.
Because we were swimming, and I was like, you want to hear about this dead lizard?
I'll just tell you guys one last thing, and then we can move off of it. But so one of the dads on Cage's baseball team works for Fanatics, and we knew that he was going to be there as well. And we're like, oh, maybe we'll see you. Then we get there, and we're like, there's no way we're going to see him because there's like thousands of people here. And Cage goes over to he was in the batting section of the MLB, whatever, and then he went over to the pitching station. We were like getting in line, and we see our friend Omar, who's one of the dads on the team, right? And so we're like, hi, Omar. Well, he is taking CJ Stroud and Bryce Young around.
Wow.
Like their talent rep, and he's like showing them around the fest and taking them to do all these activities, to basically promote Fanatics. So they're in there, they're pitching or whatever. This is the same one that Joe Burrow did. Remember that went online and everyone was like, Joe Burrow can't throw a baseball. It's like, yeah, because the football's way different. So anyway, they do a really good job, and they come out, and then like Omar's like, hey, Bryce Young, this is Cage, and I'm like, say go Dogs, right? But he didn't hear me, so we couldn't say go Dogs to the Alabama quarterback. And then he brings CJ Stroud over, and Omar goes, CJ, this is the best 5-year-old baseball player I've ever seen. And CJ goes, oh yeah, show me your batting stance. And Paige is like, all right. He like just gets there.
Snaps into it.
Hits a home run, and he watches it and admires it. Right?
Oh my
And
god.
CJ is like, yeah, dude. Like, and I cannot believe it, but I got a picture right when he happened to do it. And so it was really, really cute. He has no idea who CJ Stroud is, but I'm like, I'm going to print out every picture of Cage with like a celebrity or an athlete. So that when he's older, we can have our Timothy Chalamet moments, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And they're gonna be
Pictures.
like, was your mom odd? Was your mom forcing you on athletes? It's like the athletes came to Cage, okay?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
How much taller was Bryce Young than Cage?
Bryce Young was about my size.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, he was.
Teeny.
But
So
he
like he's
is,
getting swiped left.
But
Oh, no,
he
he's
is
beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, he
of
is.
course.
And so was CJ. I was like,
Yeah, I know.
oh yeah, I have a
Chris.
child. I should try to watch him.
Who cares? Seen it.
See you later, lizard boy. Guys, I will say, I played my first hockey game. I got checked by a full-grown man.
A
Hit
man.
the ice. Neck cracked.
It's
Full
co-ed.
crack. Yes.
Oh.
Fell twice. Once right in front of the boards in front of Zach, and I heard him audibly laugh.
Oh,
Devastating. I don't know if I'm going to be seen out there again. I don't know if I'm going to go.
Co-ed hockey is crazy.
I
wow.
play co-ed hockey. I have a super sensitive nose. Everyone smells so bad.
Yeah, of course. Hockey is the stinkiest.
Hockey is so stinky.
And the most expensive.
It's actually not that bad. My
I know, but I
equipment
mean
is
like
pretty expensive,
for like young, like.
Oh,
like
yeah, like
at
travel
my-
teams. I don't know why anyone would put their kid through hockey.
Stinky
Ridiculous.
and pricey.
I was like skating around and I was like, I look so fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
And then Zach took all of these videos of me and I was like, oh, I do not look that
No.
cool.
How did you get like placed on your specific team?
I just like signed up and then they like plopped me on a team. There is a total of 4 girls on my team. Shout outs girlies. And then the rest are just like stinky boys. And one of them kept on mansplaining. Like he kept on just being like, you gotta commit to the puck. And then this fucko just puck between his skates at all, like just a bad hockey player. And I'm like, don't talk to me anymore. Don't talk to me anymore.
And is there a rule that like they have to have like 2 women on the ice at any time? Or
No.
Okay.
We had like a power play situation. They were like, no girls. These guys are coming out on the ice. I was like, okay,
What?
losers.
Wow.
But it's fine. I'm exercising. I'm gonna have a big old butt by the end of the summer. Cannot wait.
Ice in LA
Say no
seems-
girls.
I know. I don't either.
I mean, they didn't
called
actually
ice.
say out loud no girls, but they were
But-
like, you, come out here.
There's
And
no
I was
such
like,
thing as
okay.
ice kings. There's only ice queens.
Exactly. Can we really quick before we get into sports also talk about Karen Reed?
Yes.
She's free. I got
Free.
emotional when you hear the verdict out loud in the courtroom, and then outside the courtroom you just hear like
Wild. And I love that all these jurors are coming forward. I don't know if you saw this morning, but the foreman came forward and he did an interview on the Today Show. He wouldn't give his name, rightfully so. But he was just like, and he was the same one that was like, if a dead cop was on my front lawn, my house would have been swarmed. And the fact that they didn't do that, they told me all I really
crazy.
needed to know.
Yeah. And he's a black man, right?
Yes, a black man.
Yeah.
And, Foreman, like he explained the whole thing very clearly, like very well, just like, this is what I went in and we were like, she's innocent. And when we went to deliberate, everyone was pretty emotional and we had to stop and like put our personal feelings aside and then just look at the evidence. And then that is what we did. So we just examined the evidence and we found there was no way. They were like, so do you think that she killed him? There just wasn't proof. And he was like, no, I think she's innocent. I don't think she had anything to do with it.
Wow.
So you're saying they were like the jurors were emotional in the back
They
when
were
they went to deliberate, like they were crying?
When they first, well, I think that they were all just like emotional about the situation, and like it's like the first time that they can really talk, so it's like everyone's just kind of getting stuff off of their chest, and they haven't been able to talk about anything for 8 weeks, so it's kind of just like everything is coming out at once. And he's like, and once we all just like got everything, we all said our piece, then we could kind of like put that aside. And then, so it's probably their emotions about, the witnesses, their emotions about like how rude the lawyers were and, the judge.
If I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody, I'd be keeping tabs. I'd be like, week 1, you stole my fucking seat and I'm still pissed about that. Week 2.
Yeah. It
Well,
also
there was, like,
is.
there was a couple jurors that they said, like one juror took like constant notes, and then I think the foreman might have been the one that like didn't take any, and so everyone was just like, "What is this guy? What is is this the right foreman?" That was
Yeah.
He had already made up his mind, sort of.
That's
Or
like
that-
a Cheesecake Factory waiter that's not writing down the order, and you're like, oh boy, I'm scared. There's no way it's all coming out.
No,
But
they got a
he had it
special
all.
brain.
Yeah,
It is- I do think that, at least, obviously I wasn't a juror on the Karen Reed case. Wait, when you said he didn't give his name, did they show his face or did they blur his face?
No, they showed his face.
But he said, you can't have my name. It's like, sir, we're going to find you.
Reverse
Like-
Google image.
Okay, anyways,
Yeah.
it is like I do think, especially when someone, like, there is no justice still. And so it is sad. It's like, and then because I was watching like the 2020 piece and like, yeah, you do see this man. I'm so, the saddest thing is these 2 children that he had custody of, who have now lost a third parental figure because their mother, father, another uncle who was there, who was taking care of them and they lived with, their guardian has died. And there's going to be a civil case. Like it just, it's one of those things where you're just like, how do we still not know? And it's been almost 4 years and we've wasted so much of Massachusetts taxpayers' money, and they pay a lot of taxes, that it is a sad. So it's like, yes, I'm glad that this woman, who I think we all don't think intentionally killed a man, went to jail, but there is still no resolution, and that is sad.
And I think that there's going to be a civil case both ways. Like, I think,
Yeah.
you know, the
Can you
gonna
guys
Alberts
explain
and
what a
McCabe's
civil
are-
case? Can you
So a
guys explain
civil
what a
case is like how the, you know, remember in the OJ verdict, he was found guilty. Like, he had to pay.
He's found, like,
civilly
liable.
to the liable, basically, in a civil case. In a civil case, you can bring in more evidence,
And it's
like,
much
not as-
easier. It's the standard for proving your case is much lower. And so John O'Keefe's family is suing Karen Reed. It civilly, so not in criminal court, but like, hey, if we find out that you were responsible for this, you have to pay, you know, $5 million or whatever. And I believe Karen Reed is probably going to sue Massachusetts.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hope she gets
for
up.
sure. I think
butt
she
ton
has
of
to.
money.
I think she has to sue the. I think right now they're probably figuring out who, you know, who all it's going to be, and I would assume it's either the state of Massachusetts or it's the Canton PD or both.
She needs to trademark Huss Long to Dying Cold and just sell those shirts, make a mill.
Dude.
Yeah.
Couple.
Honestly, if Jen McCabe was smart, she would, you know, get a patent for that. The way that Angel Reese has now patented me bounds, or she's trying to trademark me bounds, because everyone makes fun of her for only getting her own rebounds, and that's why
Oh
she.
my gosh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's like, hey man, if like, you know, if people are gonna troll you, you might as well make money off of it.
And they're all just like still in this town together. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Karen like lives up, but
No.
I'm just like, what a pressure
The-
cooker.
The McAlberts
Oh.
moved. They moved to like Minnesota or something.
Oh yeah.
Not far
Okay.
enough.
Yeah.
You know what has always bothered me? I'm like, can't we subpoena Chloe? Chloe is not dead. Chloe is alive.
Is that the
Can we
dog?
just
The dog.
Yeah. Can we just go get Chloe? Like, Chloe is, you know, she's not on, like, quote unquote, a farm upstate. She, like, is at another house. So, like, let's go get Chloe.
We got to bring
I bet
Colin
they
into the
did.
mix. He's guilty. He
Oh,
fought.
Yeah.
Those pictures
John.
of his knuckles all bruised up.
And
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I think they
okay.
probably, I bet they already did get Chloe. They just weren't allowed to bring it into evidence.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
because remember, they couldn't even do dog bite. They had to say animal bite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Chloe,
yeah.
Chloe's watching the TV like, somebody come and get me. I'm ready.
Hello? She's going on
Hello?
TikTok live. Hello.
Mom, will you come and get me?
We're like,
okay.
it is sad, and then we're hysterically laughing.
Speaking of sad, let's transition into the NBA. Meg, just the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. I'd like to start by saying I am doing okay. I'm definitely, I think the whole city is going through like stages of grief. I have talked to people that were at Gamebridge because there was a massive watch party and they were like, the stadium was basically sold out.
Wow.
People that were, you know, downtown at bars, here at bar, we were at our house, and like the collective air was just sucked out of every single person I've talked to. I've talked to grown men who said they immediately started sobbing. You saw him sob. You know, it was like you knew immediately, oh no. And like the only person who didn't know was my dad. My dad was like, I think he's coming back. And we were like, shut up!
No.
This is the first game my dad has watched outside of game 6 because he usually sits in this room in the dark, so we're blaming him. I do want to say game 6 was game 6 of the finals was incredible. And I had people had been like, is Tyrese going to play? That was the game where it was, is he going to play, because he had left game 5 injured.
Oh, right.
And whenever anyone asked me, and I think I even said it on here, I was like, if there's a chance that he could suffer a longer term injury, I don't want him to play game 6. And then he came out, they seemed to sort of like, you know, manage his time, manage his pitch count, and played well. And then the whole team played so well that they had this massive win. And honestly, I forgot that he was hurt, because it was just like, he did start and he looked good and they won the game. And so then game 7, like, I'm not really thinking about it. I don't feel like there was like a ton of reporting about it. And obviously there do need to be some conversations at the league office. And, you know, they're saying now for this to happen to Tatum, Dame, and Halliburton, same injury, same playoffs, that these were not calf strains, these were Achilles strains, and we need to do better testing on it. All of that aside, there's no way you're keeping this guy out of Game 7 of the NBA Finals. You know, like, there's just not a chance that's going to happen.
Wait, so in Game 6, that injury going into Game 6 was...
Yes, it was a calf strain. It's the same.
It's like Ocean Gate right before it was about to explode. Like
yes.
The fiberglass was starting to break.
And I'm less aware of Tatum's, but Dame was the same thing. It had been like Dame is nursing like an injured calf, and then they come up with these Achilles tears, which are catastrophic.
Yeah.
And so
also wild that they all have the same jersey number.
I know. I do, and like
that gives me the heebies.
I genuinely, and this is my platform, I genuinely think the way he came out and started, it was the best start he had had all playoffs. And we obviously saw how he played all playoffs. I believe the Pacers were going to win that game. He had 9 points. He was 3 for 4 from 3. He was shooting from the finals logo. Like he was a man possessed. Siakam had put the what he had possessed himself with in Game 6 on Tyrese in Game 7, and his body just could not keep up with the pace and the energy and the adrenaline that he was playing with. I don't know if they're, like CJ is not a Pacers fan. He's a Lakers fan. He's become a Pacers fan, like through me. Obviously wants to see us happy. And we've been here in Indianapolis during it. And he's like, this is going to go down as one of the worst injuries of all time across all sports. Just the timing of it, who it happened to. Like, we're not in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. We're not in Game 7 of the first round if it's not for Tyrese Halliburton. And I really do think there needs to be credit to the rest of the team. If we are crying at home, I can't imagine the emotional toll that took on them to see their friend and leader, who is so beloved, hit the floor and immediately start crying and go... And it's not in the second half. You're like 7 minutes into the game. Like, then you're going, and then they stayed in it. Like they gave it their best.
Yeah, they were still like tied, or at least the game was like a point or two.
They were up by 1 at the half.
To half, yeah.
So that is it's. There's a lot of conversation. There will still be a lot of conversation. It's really so devastating. I have seen people outside of Indianapolis start to ask if this city's sports teams are cursed. And I've seen like a lot of different examples given. I have 3 examples that to me are glaringly like outliers of, ooh, these are really bad. Because I saw people be like, Oladipo's leg, Paul George's leg, bad injuries, but injuries do happen. The 3 to me that make me pause and go, are we cursed, is the Malice at the Palace.
Yes.
The worst fight and altercation that honestly changed the trajectory of how every single like stadium is policed and watched after. I mean, it changed sports and how they handle all large scale scenarios like that. Mm-hmm. So the Malice at the Palace, which we think we would have won that year. But that's so far away. That's so many what ifs. And it's like this what if was like 30 minutes away. So the Malice at the Palace, Andrew Luck retiring early 2 weeks before the season. Unprecedented. Nothing like that
for
has
mental
ever.
health issues. People were like, wait, they can do
Nothing-
that?
Nothing like that has ever happened. And then now our star player, who had probably the greatest and most unexpected run in playoff history, tearing his Achilles at the beginning of Game 7 that we weren't even supposed to be in.
Wow.
Those 3 really make me go, what the fuck did we do to deserve this?
But maybe it's like a bad thing comes in 3s, and now you guys are free from the curse. You know who we should call? www.etsy.com/Chad. What was their name? Gary? Chad?
It was a woman with a man's name, but not one that's like Ryan or like a typical one, Billy.
Bruce? I can't remember.
I-
Listen, I'll pay another $6 to make sure that Indianapolis is free of the curse.
Do you? So he had a calf strain before.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what Dame had.
Yeah.
But then Steph Curry had a hamstring. I just wonder, and like he didn't play. He didn't come back in because he said they were tricky, and I just wonder if that has prevented him from that happening. If they're all related, you know.
I mean, I think going forward now, if you have any little inkling of something going on, you just got to be like, I need time.
And like there's just, I don't think there's a way you keep him out of Game 7, even if
No, of course not.
you know,
No.
if you
the magic that was happening, like that
Yeah.
Tyrese Pascal moment, like I have goosebumps even just thinking about it. I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings when it happened. Everything was so sticky, and people just exploded. Like it was nuts. Matt, there was no way he wouldn't have played. There was like magic happening on the court.
No. I don't think you would even have told him not to. You know?
Do you guys? Because I've tried to think of a worse thing happening. Is there a worse situation?
I don't think there's a worse situation than your favorite player that is carrying your team that should not be where they are getting hurt and you losing because of it. I don't think there's something worse. No.
I mean, I can only think of like Brock Purdy, but that was only in the NFC Championship game, right? It wasn't even in the Super Bowl, but that's what, like, you know, I think they had a couple injuries in that game, but they never recovered from that, you know, as a team.
There are a few more things.
Not the final. It would be like the
Game
last,
7.
like before the last, you know, before halftime of the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden your whole team collapses because Tom Brady's out.
You win.
know?
I think you win. You take the cake.
I want to say one more negative thing, and then I am going to end on some positives, so it's not all doom and gloom. I have just not seen this really anywhere outside of TikTok, but I know a couple people that went to, I keep wanting to say Kansas City, went to Oklahoma City, and by all reports, they're saying everyone that was in the stadium was lovely, and kind and fine, and, you know, I think felt bad and whatever. And then they're saying when they left the stadium, it was the most dangerous situation they have ever felt they were in their life. And this is a man who is 6'3" and a fireman. So we are not talking about, like, you know, me being like, oh my God, someone looked at me weird. There were people waiting outside. And I'm guessing they're Thunder fans, but I think they're just also people looking to, like, cause chaos, who were physically assaulting Pacers fans. There were people on horses trying to run them over.
Crazy. That's what's
people
crazy.
were saying they were having to take off their Pacers gear because they were afraid for their safety. And my friend sent me footage. This is not just like, oh, I heard. This is like firsthand account. My friend sent me footage of the police doing a really bad job of trying to escort Pacers fans safely back to their hotel while they are being, like, assaulted. Now, I bring this up for two reasons. One, because when you're upset, anger is much easier to deal with than sadness. And so I do like being angry at these people and being like, that's fucked up. And two, these are the same people that would look to LA and go, oh my gosh, the riots. And it's like, no. They're peacefully protesting. What you are doing is inappropriate. And culturally, we give such a pass to sports fans. Like, I kept seeing memes during the peak of the LA protests, and it would be like chaos, and they were like, oh my God, look at the terror in LA. And then they go, oh, never mind, that's the Eagles Super Bowl parade. Where it's like, we have allowed this thing in sports where we're like, oh, you can destroy your city, you can burn cars, you can push shit into the river, all in the name of sports. But if you do anything in the name of, like, societal unrest, you are deemed a villain. And I just want to point out the hypocrisy of that.
That's a very good point. That is a very, very good point.
Listen,
and I think also, but like you said, there were it felt like two different groups, right? Like the group inside the stadium was like all fine. And then like there was this second tier group that was like, we're just here to cause chaos. And that's also what happened in the protests too. You know, it's like you have all these protesters and then the lights go down, it gets dark, and this new group comes in and they cause chaos. and then
Yeah.
everything, gets jumbled in your mind as to like
Yeah.
who was right, who was wrong.
Yeah.
People are just riled up. I think you said that yesterday,
yeah.
Meg. Like, people are just wanting to fucking throw
People are
stones
mad.
through windows.
It's hot. But I went to that finals. I went to that game 3, and there were definitely people outside, but it was the most I saw someone say to an OKC fan was, "Have a good flight." Like that's how scary Indianapolis is to people.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to end on 3 silver linings, and then we will put this to bed. Okay, I did love baby Elijah Hartenstein knocked out on his dad. He is 13 months old, and when SGA went and was supporting his head, I was like, I'm really upset, and I don't like any of them right now, but I do love this baby, and I'm happy this baby is being really cute. Second silver lining, the amount of Pacers legends and former players that came out and supported this team, I have never seen anything like that. Now, obviously, OKC stole the team from the Sonics, so the Sonics are not going to go and support them. But to see every single alumni, I'm talking deep cuts, okay? I'm talking Travis Best, Chris Mullen, Rick Smits, at every game, rooting them on, Reggie being at this game, hugging a crying TJ McConnell. I feel so lucky that I get to root for a team that is a community in addition to just being a sports franchise. And then my last silver lining, it's my most delusional one. I hope the Indianapolis Colts see what the Pacers did for this city and go, if you give this city something to root for, they will love you forever. And it inspires them to not lose their home opener for the 8th year in a row.
8th? Oh,
no, it's a season opener. This will be the 9th year in a row if they lose.
No.
Season opener. So just win, Anthony Richardson.
Didn't you make a nice little sign for Tyrese to put on his front lawn? When you got there, was there other signs?
No, because we went out at midnight. The game had just ended, and we went upstairs, made the sign, and then we put it right by where you go into his house. And then by the morning, my mom didn't know it was our sign because it was just CJ and I. She thought someone took our sign out of our yard because they were upset. And we were like, no, we needed the sticks. And then by the morning, there was another sign in the neighborhood that said, "We love you, Tyrese."
That is really, really sweet. So wait, you walked up to his front door?
We're a little,
there's
a gate. There's a gate to get to his
okay.
street. There's a gate to get in the neighborhood, and then there's a gate to get to the Halliburton Street, okay? Behind the double gates. And so we put it just outside his gate so he would see it when he's going in.
Back from the hospital.
Yeah, because he had surgery yesterday in New York.
Did you see the picture that he posted?
Yeah.
And the letter? Yeah. It was very sweet.
Cutie.
Well,
I'm
now
sorry,
it's
Meg.
we're really sorry, Meg. It was just gut-wrenching to see that because I think we all thought this is the Pacers. They're gonna.
Yeah.
But I will
They're
say
they had that magic. Yeah.
And
what
my
a fun
son
run.
he's addicted to the cult social media. I don't know if you watched
Blue
with the pie in the face
yes.
stuff that they do.
Yes.
Every day there's somebody new in the Colts organization is getting a pie in the face, and Cage will watch them all day.
Oh, Blue is a star. Boomer is a star. Boomer went to Conrad's school last week. And I do think the Pacers gained so many fans. So many people were texting me and are like, I don't even watch basketball anymore. And I have been rooting for this team. Or I'm a Warriors fan and I'm rooting for this team. It was just such a really nice, fun distraction. And now
I feel like this season overall, sort of brought people back to basketball. The Knicks pandemonium, the Pacers, Cinderella story. For once, we didn't have these same old in the finals.
Seven different champions in the last 7 years. And now the trades are already underway. Kevin Durant traded on Sunday to the Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, a first round pick and 5 second round picks. And then Drew Holiday, who I think is traded every single offseason.
Yeah.
And this man has been on so many teams and he's so kind. And he just is like a guy that rolls with everything, that they're just like, sorry, dog, we got the Celtics have traded him away. So,
Yeah.
and then the draft is this week? Yeah, the draft is this week.
I think
Oh
the
my
draft
Lord.
is this week. The
I think it
Lakers
starts
have new
Thursday.
ownership, so we'll
Yeah.
see if they get
Oh,
Giannis.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Giannis is like think-
Yeah.
they're gonna
Zach
try to
said,
do
Zach
what
said, my,
Mark Walter, you know, like owns the majority of the Lakers now, and then or maybe he bought 40%. I can't remember, but he also owns.
no, I
the
think
Dodgers,
he owns
so it's like-
majority.
yeah,
I think he
so
owns majority, and the Bus family does still have a little bit of a stake in the team, but now they are rich.
I just wonder
Yeah.
if they can do the deferred payments for Giannis to get him on the Lakers.
I
Really
know.
My
Yeah.
husband was
Also
sending
just-
me pictures of Giannis last week, and there was some rumors that he was going to go to Toronto, and I got all excited, and there's just no way.
Yeah.
C-
I love
CJ was
rumors.
like, CJ was like, if he was smart, he'd just go to Indy, and they would send
Yeah.
they would send
That would
Miles
be
somewhere.
fun.
But I think I don't know. I think there's actually a good chance he stays in Milwaukee too.
Yeah, there's a great chance. Can I also just say one thing? I think everyone was
please.
talking about how nobody was going to want to watch these finals because it was like 2 no-name teams, and
Yeah.
it was the most watched Game 7 in 6 years.
Wow.
16.4 million viewers. Peaked
Hell
at
yeah.
19.
And that's despite the pregame crew and halftime crew minus Malika being not good. And that is something ESPN does need to address. I love Richard Jefferson. I love Doris Burke. I think
like,
they're
guys,
good. But
wake up. Like, this is... Sorry, somebody's calling me. Can you guys still hear me?
now we can hear you.
Like, wake the hell up. Everyone is enjoying this, and you're playing solitaire. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
And you're just like grumpy. Like I was like, when Tyrese went down, I was like, I hope Stephen A feels bad for the rest of his life. And I'm like, he won't. Because he's not
He
one of those
truly just
person.
looked every time, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't watching with any sound during halftime. Like, every time it showed him, he just looked miserable to be there.
And
It's
and
like,
that
why
works
would I
on the
wanna watch
morning
this?
shows. The morning shows, you know, they need to yell. The games should be a celebration. And now
Yes.
that Inside the NBA is done on TNT, these Peacocks, these NBCs, these Amazons, they need it. They need to make sure it feels joyous. Sports is
Yes.
fun. Stop having haters
Sure.
on
Morning
the panels.
shows. I don't watch these shows, but I know that
No,
there
they're
are
terrible.
some people that watch these shows. I don't know who those people are, but, like, you know, you come in, you're all grumpy, and you've got a 5-minute monologue still comparing Michael Jordan to fucking LeBron.
Yeah.
It's like, don't bring
No.
that energy around these games. That's not, yeah, exactly.
Snooze.
Like, who truly, if there is crossover between sports bitches and that show or those kinds of shows, I'm dying to hear your thoughts. Why do you watch these shows?
I
Yeah,
think
like,
it's
you
I
don't
think
like
it's
sports?
like I think it's like ridiculousness. No offense to ridiculousness. I think it's like just something you can put on at an airport and no one can be like, why is this? I think it's just background filler. I don't even think people are sitting down to like watch it.
I really like, there is a skill to it because you are a bullshit artist. You are just saying,
Yeah.
you are regurgitating the same shit every single morning. I do remember, like, sitting in and co-hosting the Colin Cowherd show a couple times when I was still at Fox. And I remember being, like, actually quite impressed that he was able to talk about the exact same thing for 3 days, 3 hours each day, and
Yeah.
have the same take but through a different lens. I was like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. Do people not realize you're just saying the same thing over and over and over again for 3 hours?
You're kind of like those like shady church traveling salesmen, you know, who go to a town and are like, yeah, we got trouble. Like you're just kind of like a scammer a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it's television.
Okay.
That's sports TV, baby.
All right. Baseball. Baseball.
Sarah, what's going on with the baseball?
What is going on with the baseball? Well, the Dodgers and the Padres sealed their hate for each other by hitting, Tatis and then hitting Shohei, and so words were said. Dave Roberts, I don't know if, and Mike Schilt, like, they both, like, got into it. Like, they were going to, like, meet afterwards. I think Dave Roberts was like, I'll find you later. I'll find you
Yeah,
later.
Where?
okay.
Well,
Where?
You guys are, like, so old. Like, there's
You're
no
very
way
old.
you don't
That parking lot is
But-
really complicated. You're not finding each other.
Yes, the bottom. You're gonna have to go through the dugout club to like find it. You know, like.
Could
these
you
are not
could you
things that either
imagine
of
the
you care
dugout
about.
club? Hey, meet me in the dugout club.
Hey. Like,
Buy
and
the
then
I'll
cheese
see you
and
next to the
crackers.
crab legs. Yes. I do,
Bring me a ginger ale.
Wait, and so Shohei was trying to be a peacemaker. You think he was just like, this
Yeah,
is all
always.
too much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but years ago, I think it was when Shohei was still on the Angels, like the Angels and I want to say like the Brewers or somebody, like they got into the Angels and the Mariners, they got into this big fight. And everyone was pushing each other, and like Shohei's interpreter Ippei was like fighting next to him.
Ippei!
Oh, it's like interpreting the fight for Shohei. So
Ippei reported for prison this past week. Ippei
yes,
is now
he did.
in,
on the day that Shohei made his appearance on the mound. It's a lot. Like every
did it
time
for
Shohei
him.
does anything, it's like front page news. They're like, he got his first strikeout. I'm like, in the second game he pitched. Like everybody
Yeah.
calm down. So
He fell asleep in the
That-
dugout. Oh my god.
yeah,
Well,
it
that
is
was
like
really cute.
it is a lot of slobbering. It's like the way they do with Caitlin Clark. It's like, well, this sells magazines. It's Taylor Swift, right? This sells
Yeah,
everything. So we're always going to mention Shohei because it gives us engagement. So anyway, but the Dodgers are just kind of hovering. The Giants are on an upswing because they got Devers. There hasn't really been any big trades. The Braves swept the Mets, so that's really what I've been focusing on. Then we lost 2 out of 3 against Miami. Then we beat the Mets again last night in New York. We went to see the Yankees play the Orioles when we were in New York at Fanatics Fest, and Schilt had a no-hitter going, and we left in the 6th inning.
Wow.
So anyway,
Wow.
baseball's all over the place. The biggest news, I think, in baseball right now is Cal Raleigh, who is the catcher for the Seattle Mariners, is leading the home run race. He's currently on a 68 home run like projected swing.
Oh my
He's got 32.
gosh.
He is a
What?
catcher. He is a switch hitter, and his nickname is the Big Dumper.
Because he got a big old booty. He got big booty.
I want to
Got a
be
big
called the
old
Big
booty.
Dumper.
I want to be called the Big Dumper too.
Yeah.
Should I put Big Dumper on the back of my hockey jersey? I haven't put my name
Should
back
we
there
change
yet.
the name of
Big
this
Dumper.
show to Big Dumpers?
I think that
Yeah.
might be the title of the episode.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh should be Sports Bitch of the Week. So he is.
Wow.
He's really fun. So
Wow.
anyway, it's a big conversation of like whether Shohei will win. Aaron Judge will win MVP or Cal Raleigh will win MVP because
We'll have
obviously
to
Aaron
see.
Judge is having
That's
a
fun.
record year as well, but he is not
And
a switch hitter. He is not a catcher.
He's hot.
And this is like
He does
so
have
Cal
kind of a
Raleigh-
big booty too, though.
He's a big.
Yeah.
He's got a big dumper. I saw it in person a couple weeks ago, and I was like,
He
"That's
is
a
a
big dumper."
giant person, but it's kind of unprecedented because catchers usually don't bat this much. You know, like they don't play every day. They every 3 days they get an off day, and on his off day, Cal Raleigh is the DH.
Wow.
So
Oh wow.
you know, yeah. So they're really
I
utilizing
have some
him.
baseball news.
Okay.
Yes.
I saw a grown man choose to challenge himself in the 999 challenge. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
9
No.
hot dogs, 9 beers in 9 innings.
Ugh. Okay.
And he completed it in 6.
So,
And then had an ice cream sandwich and another beer. And I think
so
you're 6.
it has to be. He has to do it in like the Dodgers are playing the Padres in
Yes.
the span of their game. I
Yes,
think
you have
that's-
to do it within 9 innings. I actually
seems doable.
I couldn't do the beer, but I could do the hot dog.
And see, I could do the beer, but I don't think I could do the hot dogs. So the Big Dumpers
Should we
together. The Big
Okay,
Dumpers.
hold on. New pitch. 40th birthday. 999 challenge at Fanatics Fest.
And then we measure who has the biggest dump.
We would
But
be
yeah,
such a
I
hit
have-
at Fanatics Fest if we did our
Oh
podcast
my gosh.
live there.
Have you thought more about what you actually want to do, Meg? Are we doing Mardi
Well,
Gras?
oh,
Sounds crazy.
so
now.
CJ and I have found an Airbnb in Indianapolis that is all Colts theme. It's like,
Oh, hell. Oh, my God.
and I was like, I go, oh man, you know how most Airbnbs you like can't throw parties at? He goes, I think they want you to throw a party here. I don't think I don't think this is for like a wedding, like a bridal suite. I think this is like.
I will pay real U.S. currency to hire that Colts guy that sings the song that we love to pop out of some sort of cake.
He was
Sing
like,
happy birthday to Megan.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Seth. So we might do
He'll write you a new rendition of a happy birthday that we
This
have
is
never
our
heard
Meg.
before.
This is our Dumper. We love
he's on
Shit's
Cameo.
real
Is
big.
he on Cameo?
I think
He's
I
gotta
hope-
be.
I hope so.
He's
I hope
got to be. What do you
doing
think he's
okay.
charging on Cameo? Cousin Sal and I used to play
Yes.
this game where we would play Cameo over under, and we
I
would
love
guess.
that game.
It's a really fun game.
Yeah,
We should have him on the pod.
I'm pretty cheap on Cameo. So yeah, maybe we'll do February 17th at the Colts. It's like one of those. It used to be like a storage unit, or like on a train, and they turned it into like a Colts home.
What are you pitching us right now? You want us to get onto a storage kit? Listen, we'll do whatever. It's your birthday.
And then New Orleans.
Storage?
okay,
container? I
before
missed
we
it.
It's a storage container
it's
that
a
they
storage
turn
unit. It's an
into
old train.
a high-end Colts home.
Okay, before we log off, we wanted to, because the world is just such it's on fire, like we said, it's hell, literal hell. We wanted to come up with some positive things to focus on this summer because basketball was just like such a beautiful distraction for all of us. And we still have baseball, we still have the WNBA, and we've got the draft coming up, and we've got training camp starting, but there is still an empty hole in our hearts that we want to fill with something. So I asked these gals, what are some good distractions to get us through the summer? I can start.
Okay.
I have recently taken up henna tattooing freckles onto my face. I wouldn't necessarily suggest it for the general population,
What?
but I am getting better at it.
Wait, so what makes it henna?
You have to buy real henna. You have to buy real henna, and then you
think
tattoo.
henna-
You just go dee, 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 dee,
Henna
dee, dee, dee,
is
put
the
freckles.
name of the dye,
yes,
basically.
Yes, the dye.
Okay.
Meg, you don't need to do this because
No.
you are the freckle
Freckled.
queen. I did do this earlier, and Zach said you cannot leave the house like that.
You look like little Orphan Annie or like Raggedy Ann. Do you remember? Were you old? Are you?
Yeah, of
You
course.
remember Raggedy Ann?
Yeah, I was Raggedy Ann for
yeah.
Halloween one year.
So, henna tattooing
Andy.
is something I'm exploring. And I think I'm gonna grow my own vegetables in my garden because everything's just too expensive, and I just
Yeah.
want to be able to plop out some tomatoes.
Yeah.
Those are my distractions. Is just trying not to ruin my face and growing some vegetables.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I am so thrilled that it feels like a lot of good TV is returning as I'm about to squeeze this baby out. America's Sweethearts are back. Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. And it's on Netflix. I'm on episode 3, and the baby this week is a pom-pom. So I am like the size of the Dallas Cowboys pom-poms. And like, sometimes when there's like season 1, this happens more with like narrative shows, there's like a real drop off season 2. I'm loving season 2. There's another legacy who's trying to make the team. I'm really worried about her. Worried about her, like emotionally and mentally. And there's really good storylines. Kelly's as crazy as ever. And
You did
now
say everyone's boyfriends are very ugly. Can you say more about that?
Yeah, so everyone's boyfriend. We all remember Reese's now husband. Remember Reese?
Oh,
and then
Lord.
we saw that man and we
Literally.
were like, what is happening? That is the trend. Every single one of them has an ugly boyfriend and an ugly husband. And I would like that studied in sociological classes at colleges. How the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, who are these like intelligent, hot, gorgeous, talented women are married to thumbs.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and it's not even geographical. It's not even like, oh, they're in Texas and that's what they have. It's like some of these dudes are coming from Ohio. Some of them are from the Northeast. They just these thumbs find these princesses, and it works out for them.
The thumbs find the big dumpers. They search far
They
and
have
wide.
no. These DCC's got no dumpers.
No
Like
dumpers.
I try and
with
think
all
about
those high kicks.
I try and think about myself in those outfits because they just did like that outfit fitting. They are so teeny. These girls are the teeniest. There's a girl who's 18 who the baby I deliver is going to be bigger than her. Like she is like, shoot. And they're like, oh yeah, like there's a girl who's like she maybe has like shoulders, and they're like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Speaking of young women who are, I don't want to say anything mean, but Meg, there is a woman on Love Island that's in Casa Amor, and I'll just put a pin in that, and we'll talk about it once you get there. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm wondering if I need to get a head start and start before the baby comes.
I think so, because I mean,
They're
Sarah,
already at Casa Amor?
is this going to be your distraction?
I mean, I feel like now, unfortunately, I feel invested. So this is my first time watching Love Island. Apparently, I started watching the UK version, and that was wrong.
No, but that's the
I was
OG.
like, I don't
It's
know,
like
season.
it's like if you went to the original Office. It's like you were actually being like true to the art.
Yes.
We were like, no, you got to come over with the trash.
Well, I just like that this one girl was like, I'm a marketing engineer, and then she's like, but then it came out that she just dressed up like princesses on the weekends. I was
No.
like, it's incredible, like the things that they changed their bio to, like they did that on The Bachelor all the time, where it's like they make their occupation sound more interesting, but it's like, you don't have a real job. You're 22. Like, of course it's like, oh, I'm a tech salesman. I'm like, oh, okay, so you work at T-Mobile and you sell iPhones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you sell flat tummy tea on the internet.
Yeah,
yes.
that's very
And then,
much
like,
happening on the current episode. Somebody said that they're a pool technician. You're a pool boy.
Right. You're a pool boy. They
Yeah.
do. Yeah. So I was also just like, man, they're also just so then I started watching first of all, the UK version this season. There was a black girl from Glasgow, and I was like, okay,
Crazy.
now I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, a black girl with a Scottish accent. I was like, but then I was like, they had this Asian girl who's beautiful, but she had bad skin, and I was just like, how do you even find that? Like, that's harder to find than a man. So that was really interesting. But then anyway, so then I switched to the US version. And now Chris is kind of invested because he happened to be home and sitting there.
For
he was like
real?
making the protein balls for us, and then he was like, "What is happening?" And then
What
I just, like,
episode?
sat down.
This is
How
my
many episodes are you in?
dream.
That's the other thing. So I keep thinking I've watched
so
like
many.
8, and it's only been 1. Commercials. There's like so many commercials. So I watched
Commercials?
3.
Are you?
I'm
Yeah,
watching it on Peacock.
Oh, you
Yeah.
gotta pay for the not commercials. You
do.
can't be. Well, what are you talking about commercials?
What's
Maybe I don't. Maybe I just pay for Peacock Basic or something.
I think I only have Peacock Basic too. What's really fun is that so many athletes, I think last week I showed like Coco Gauff, but like Jalen Brunson tweeted earlier this week, I'm so confused. And everyone thought it was about the Knicks coaching search, which is confusing because they just keep calling coaches that are like, I have a job, I can't come. And then he had to go back and answer his own tweet and be like, I'm sorry guys, I was just talking about Love Island. Like, I'm not talking about the Knicks organization.
This is the only way that we have gotten Sarah and Chris into it is just by telling them that there are a lot of athletes that are watching it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a least favorite, Sarah?
They're all my least favorite. I don't understand why everyone has so many tattoos. I don't understand that
Yeah.
at all. I like right now there's this like girl named Huda, and she says she's like a fitness trainer, and I'm just like, I don't I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I just am.
You'll learn-
You'll learn a lot
Yes.
about Huda.
She's a mom. She's a mom, so I'm
Yeah.
like rooting for her.
There
but
may
it
have-
does seem like she's taken the internet by storm.
Oh, she has totally taken the internet by storm. I do feel like she is a fitness trainer, but she might be getting fit a different way, if that makes
Ew,
sense.
yeah. That, because I was like, it doesn't look like she's very devoted to the fitness training of it. Like, I think she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I can't imagine her like taking me through any exercises. You know,
Well,
The
if
Chris-
it's on a pole, I think you could imagine.
Oh,
that.
she's a stripper? Oh, that's cool. A mom who's a stripper already number one favorite.
You see some of her moves
The-
later, and you're like, oh my god, she's incredible.
The white girl who moved to Hawaii and is a Christian is not gonna work for me.
Belle Dasha.
I cannot figure out, like, her face and her voice do not match. It's very off-putting to me.
Yeah. So
Like, every time
beautiful.
she talks, I'm
She
like,
is,
yeah, and I think that has given her a pass, but like everything else about her, I'm just
No,
like,
she's
yeah.
a ding
I don't
dong.
understand anything.
Yeah.
There,
You can't
like,
come on Love Island if you don't want to smooch dudes. Like, that's...
I've never. I'm hoping she goes home because I'm early. I never think the men are as hot as the girls.
No, they're not. And there's a lot of cold sores on this season getting passed around.
What?
Yeah, Meg, I'm telling you, dial the fuck in, because as
All
soon as
right.
you have a baby, you're gonna be too busy to watch.
No,
Love
you're
Island.
not busy. All you do is watch TV, and I'm in on DCC, and Bravo's really cooking with Real Housewives of Miami. Larsa Pippen delivers hate villain energy every single season. She really, Scotty,
What is this
this is on Bravo. Is Real Housewives of Miami. If you want to
Miami.
really give a middle finger to ICE, watch Real Housewives of Miami, because it is
Oh,
just
okay.
the
I wanna
hottest,
do that.
the hottest immigrants screaming at each other, and I love them all.
Can I also say I might switch back to the UK
Yeah,
Oh my god.
because there was a guy on the UK. This is like right before I switched it, and he was like, "I'm just looking for a girl with big boobs and a big bum, you know, like naturally pretty." And
I mean, like,
I was like,
the-
I'm in.
I started my first ever I watched, which this was probably 7 years ago, was season 2 of UK Love Island, and it transformed my life. Like, it was definitely like, wow, this is insane.
People are saying that this season of Love Island is back to the OG roots, because you're seeing people boink, you're seeing some shit go down.
Okay, they used to
Yeah.
chain smoke on the UK version. It was awesome.
They don't smoke.
No, they don't. They have a place where they smoke now, but they were chain smoking on TV. And like the UK version has had some there's been sadly 3 people who have died by suicide on the UK version.
Oh my
Yeah, it is really
gosh.
sketchy, because people get bullied big time. Like, Huda
Yeah.
is getting
And they don't
fucking
know.
dragged.
Then they come out and they're like, "Wait, I'm
this guy-
Marjorie Taylor Greene."
This guy that's like like rubbing his hands together all the time. Like,
Is that
this-
Ace?
No, it's not Ace. It's this guy named Nick. He probably thinks that he's like gotten so many followers. All the girls are like fawning over him. And I saw an article the other day with his face on it that says, "We need to talk about the cold sores on Long Island." It's devastating. It's gnarly, Meg. They all have them. It's gross.
Ew. Okay, I'm gonna abandon my child who's already here and do DCC and Love Island at the same time and say, Conrad, fend for yourself.
Conrad, sorry. We love you, but
I'm busy.
do we have a sports pitch of the week?
Yes, I do. I got a message from a sports bitch all the way in Paris, Marie. She sent love from, so that was the farthest message I got of someone sending me Pacers love. And she said that she is a sports bitch listener in Paris. And I can only see half of her face in her profile picture, but she looks hot.
She's
Marie in
gorge.
Paris.
Of course she
We
is.
love
You're
you.
a sports bitch. All sports bitches are hot.
Bonjour, we love you.
We've actually spoken
Yes.
a decent amount of
Merci.
French on this episode.
Merci, Marie.
Un, deux, trois.
And you know, honorable for Sophie Cunningham. I know that
Oh,
she
yeah.
is I know she's a Trumper, but if you're a girl's girl, Come on over to this side, Sophie. It's better. I promise.
Is she proven trumper, or they just call her that?
I think proven.
Oh, okay. Well, she's also a black belt, so it's kind of fun.
And played on our high school football
Trumper
team.
with a big dumper.
No, Sophie got no booty. All right, I love you, gals. Next week I'm gonna.
Love you guys.
Next week's gonna be my last episode, and then
Next week we are sending Meg off in style.
Not
We're gonna
forever.
release you. What the fuck?
No.
Forever.
just until I.
We are going to
open and then-
continue putting out episodes. I think, Sarah. We got to chat. We've talked about maybe having some guest hosts swapping in and out, which could be fun. Let us know if you have people that you want us to call.
Amazing.
And I think
They've
that's
got
it.
very small shoes to fill. I'm like a 6.
Oh my God, 6.
6.5.
Oh, we
Well,
can
they're
ask- we'll have to
they're
ask
swollen.
Colleen.
One of my toes.
Colleen's
They're
the only one
swollen.
I know who can fit into those shoes.
Colleen literally buys children's shoes. Okay.
I buy children's
Love you
too.
guys.
Love you.
All right, bye.